I am a big fan of arcade shoot-'em-ups, but something I like even more than arcade shmups is finding and watching replays of arcade shmups. I have a huge playlist of scoring and survival runs that I think might be cool to try to learn. I'm particularly interested in pure survival runs. Rather than spending all my time getting really good at one game, I'd rather learn tons of games. While not as impressive as score play, I find it just as interesting to see how others tackle a game to clear it as consistently as possible. While searching for these types of runs, I found a replay of Sonic Wings 3 from Yep. Now, I knew the Sonic Wings games were fast-paced, but look at that video length. And it doesn't take long to see that their ship choice seems to be geared very well for survival. This is the perfect run to get a quick clear. I was thinking, I wonder exactly how long it would take to learn it. You could probably do it in it's basically 8 minutes long. I bet you could do it in just an hour. With that idea in mind, I waited for a few months to where I completely forgot any specific details about the run. All I could remember was that the run was fast and the ship they used seemed good. So here's the plan. I got the game up, along with the replay that I'm going to learn from blind. I have 1 hour to learn and practice as much as I can, and at the end of the hour, we're going to attempt one run and see if we can clear. But before we begin, here's our strategy to tackle this. I need to waste as little time as possible and learn very quickly. I'll look at the replay for about 10-second chunks and then try to copy the route. After practicing that section to where I got it for the most part, I'll make a save state and then move on to the next 10 seconds. I don't have enough time to emulate the replay's movements flawlessly. I'm just trying to get to where I have a general idea of where the enemies will spawn and where I should be. I want to get through the easy parts as quick as possible so I know which sections I should prioritize my limited time on. Alright, now let's make it happen. The first stage is very straightforward. We get max power in the first 10 seconds of the stage, and you can already tell that our ship has a lot going for it. We have a wide spread and a really strong homing shot, so it seems really solid. I like this first stage a lot because the enemy placement just makes a lot of sense. These planes will nicely guide you to the building to destroy, then you know that the next enemies will be on the right because of the water as the landmark. Tanks going along this road put you in line with the big plane. It all just works very cleanly. The enemy placement making sense with the background helps a ton with quick memorization. Instead of hard memorizing something like 2 enemy right, 3 enemy middle, you know exactly where the enemies are going to be just after one time. We get to our first boss and find out that the homing shot is very strong for point blanking. All we gotta do is sit on top of him and both phases die. This one shot here spooked me though, so from now on I'm just going to backpedal in case one will sneak through in the future. I practiced a couple times to make sure that the boss will die every time before going to the next stage. You see this plane here after the boss? Depending on which wing you destroy, you'll get a different stage next. I just assumed that the replay I'm watching opted for the easiest route, so I just followed it. Only 3.5 minutes in and we got a handle on the first stage. For stage 2, we actually have to dodge some bullets. Luckily, even if we don't speed kill the enemies, the bullets are slow and shouldn't be hard to dodge. This tank here can sneak out a stealth bullet, so that's all I looked at during this part. I was worried about getting point blanked at this boat section, but that never was an issue. For the second boss, we find out that our bombs are kinda crazy. I don't know if the other ships have bombs like this, but watch. Combine the point blanking with this bomb and you don't have to do anything. Assuming you bomb in time. One more pass through the whole stage and now we're off to stage 3 at around 8.5 minutes. Stage 3 is a bonus stage with no possibility of dying, so I didn't see any need to practice this. You might think that there's some value in practicing to get all of the point items, but it seemed pretty easy to do blind, and while their scoring extends, I don't think the point milestones are difficult to meet. Stage 4 is where the real game begins. I don't know if this enemy is threatening, but we got bombs to spend, and the replay bombs this guy, so we will too and not worry about it. This starting section's actually less scary than it looks. The spread and homing kills everything, and the aimed bullets only shoot once, so they're easy to dodge any of them that actually come out. However, this mountain turret here marks the first wall of the run. The shots from these Zakkos cut off the screen. I found the most consistent was to stay at the bottom and then move up after they shoot. Then we get to the plateaus. The Zakkos are the real problem here, and the plateaus distract our homing shot from being able to shoot them. I was getting confused trying to deal with these rocks because the replay seemed to speed kill them, but mine weren't dying right away. Sometimes they would just surprise point blank me, and other times they would spawn a rocket that I couldn't kill in time. This whole section was messy, so I had to spend a lot of extra time here. I would end up discovering that the plateaus could be one of several randomly selected options. I eventually found some safe movements to not get killed regardless of which option would be rolled. And then we get to the boss. The replay seemed to cleanly speed kill it, but I was having trouble getting the same result. Most of the time I got double KO'd or I died before I could bomb again. But if I played too safe, I'd do too much damage and the second bomb would kill the level select plane. I have no clue which level it would actually pick, so I needed to make sure that I don't accidentally get the wrong stage and kill the run. As I spent more and more time here, I was getting worried about how much time I would spend to trial and error this boss, but I figured it out. If you sit in the middle of the boss, you can't get the second bomb off without dying. It's something like the iframes just don't line up for you to get two in a row. But instead, if you bomb and then sit in this open area in the middle, you're fine. And 2 bombs is all you need to kill it. No need to shoot your main shot before both bombs and risk doing too much damage. One last run through the stage and we're at 16 minutes. We spent 8 minutes, which was the most amount of time spent on a stage so far, so hopefully the next ones don't have similar walls. Stage 5 is short, but it's a problem. First half is actually very easy. We sit in the middle and nothing threatens us. Though we do get some cool tech for the second half. We are out of bombs at this point, so we're going to plan a death here to refill our bombs. This section has tons of power-ups, so we would rather die now and rearm to full power instead of dying later and struggling with low power. Already we are at the boss, and I hate this thing. It's not actually very hard, but it's long, and I didn't feel like I had enough time to get it down 100%. We have to dodge, but the first dodges are easy. Then we get to spend a bomb to get rid of the side pod while also damaging the main part. And for the opposite pod, we'll also spend another bomb. After, we have to dodge a few spreads, or if we're confident, we can decide to try to speed kill it. Then finally, one last bomb, and the boss is down. So what are the issues with this boss? I had trouble learning the timings quickly on when I needed to spend the bombs and when the phases would transition. I bombed too early or too late, and then not be sure which part the main boss was at. At this part, you can just hide in the corner, but it looks sketchy, and I wasn't entirely sure if the left pod would be a problem if it lived, or if the boss movement could make this bullet reach. And you have to be very fast on killing the part, so that you can point blank the next section. This stuff is completely fine with some practice to iron it out, but I had a time constraint, so I wasn't feeling confident before I needed to move on to the next stage. Luckily, stage 6 is another easy bonus stage. You can actually die this time, but you're not going to with this ship. It's also easy to grab the power-ups here without the item limit preventing them from spawning like in Sonic Wings 2. Now on stage 7, we have the shortest main stage. 2 planes, a mid-boss, and the boss. Yet I would put a significant amount of time here. At the beginning, we pick up a power-up and refill 1 bomb. And with that, the mid-boss is already here. We have to get in as many shots as we can before the boss can act and then bomb. Very fast, but getting the timing is really important because you will die if you time it wrong. Right after the mid-boss is the real boss. The first bullets are easy to dodge, but then you have to rush the boss and kill the phase immediately. If you don't move up quite fast enough, you die. I messed with dodging the follow-up instead of doing the speed kill, but I really want to reduce the amount of manual dodging I need to do. Now second phase is simple. Bomb right before the bullets meet you, point blank, and you win. Except when you don't. The issue is after the bomb. Sometimes the boss would stroll over to the left and not shoot, and other times you get blasted. I could try just dodging it again, but I really don't want to risk it. I kept looking at the replay, and I noticed that their shot power was higher than mine. In the Sonic Wings games, and in early Psycho games, your power doesn't stay at max forever. You need to constantly refill on power-ups to retain max power. Now I have my fair share of Psycho clears, so I was hating myself for not noticing. But I was thinking, there wasn't any power-ups on this stage, right? There it is. The very first plane in the stage drops one. So instead of picking up the power-up right away, we're gonna let it stay on screen for as long as we can. The latest I planned to grab it was when the ruins were about halfway scrolling off the screen, so I had time to position for the mid-boss. Now we're ready to do the whole squid fight at full power. Here's what a clean run of this boss looks like. Take a look at how we're a little below the boss hitbox, so our homing shots don't shoot the wrong direction. It seemed like I was able to consistently kill the boss with these movements now. And make sure you kill the right wing so you don't get the wrong stage 8. Remember the planned death from earlier? Well, here's another great spot to do it again. The middle asteroid drops a full power-up, and we're out of bombs anyway. The iframes from dying and one more bomb lets us pass this section without worry. I reached the mid-boss, and this eye ended up being not bad. The only part that looks threatening we can allocate a bomb towards. The following section is fine, but I always worried about getting sniped here or just messing it up somehow. Now we get to the UFO boss. Let's look to the replay and see how they beat it. Looks like the replay kills it instantly with the point blank, but I ran into a problem. It would just live no matter how I positioned myself. Maybe you need a specific auto-fire rate or just better timing, but I didn't have time to experiment, so I needed to figure out how to recover here. My main shot was too weak to kill it before it could shoot a random scary pattern. And it also moved randomly, so my bombs could whiff. I tried pre-firing a bomb just right to damage the boss and have time to point blank. I would use the iframes to get more shot damage in too. But it didn't do jack. I think dying is actually what's doing the damage here. I was getting more and more stressed because I knew that if this fight didn't kill me, I was gonna have no resources for the final stage. Eventually I said screw it. I need to practice the final stage and I'll come back to this later. Oh, that was the final stage. Alright then, let's do another pass through the last level, and our plan for the UFO boss will be just to place the bomb better. And wow, we actually learned a route for the entire game in 47 minutes, which is definitely a record for me. But we don't have too much time left to cement our strategies. Since the game is short, I figured I had enough time to do a practice run from the beginning, and once I die, I'll go back to save state practice on the hard parts. Now that we've learned the game, we died to the very first tank. This stage had a hiccup. I didn't leave enough power-ups, so I ended up just practicing this stage to make sure I have the restock. I spent a few minutes on the boss trying to get the timings right again, but it's still ugly. I get one more practice run through stage 7 to make sure I can do the speed kill timings. 2 minutes left, and I make sure I can remember the stage portion of the final stage. And with 1 minute left, we get one last run of the squid boss, and go slightly overtime. Alright, now that was a lot of information to gather and retain in just 1 hour. So now it's the moment of truth. Can we execute what we learned? Let's start the run. Stage 1 through 3 go down very easily. Stage 4 I was nervous, but the plateaus go fine. Bomb the boss. And stage 5 I get enough resources after the death for the boss. But during the boss, I pull back on doing damage too quickly, so I need to get back in. I wasn't thinking about when the next bullets would spawn after destroying the middle part, and then... Alright, maybe I can recover the run. I just don't have any shot power to kill the main part or the pods, and I need the bombs for the next stages. That's the Achilles heel of this route. If you die in an unexpected place, your resources for speed killing are now all out of whack. I try not to bomb in the last part and attempt to save the bomb for the next stage, but man, that's the run. I knew this stage was gonna be the one to do me in. I was very upset at losing here in such a silly way after all that practice on the later stages. So screw it. We're gonna attempt one final run, and I immediately jumped back into a new attempt. Now we're back to stage 5. I leave so many power-ups here just for redundancy. Now back to this fucker. After destroying the first main part, I make sure to stay at the bottom of the screen, and now I'm ready to dodge this time. I bombed the right pod correctly, but then I whiff a bomb here on the left pod and start to panic. Luckily, both parts die, but I'm forced to make this scary dodge. Since I'm not on the top left when the middle dies, I'm out of position for the speed kill, so I'm forced to dodge again. I'm getting pretty anxious now, so let's just bomb this final bit and get out of this stage. Just 2 stages left. I put all of my attention into remembering the route and timings and try not to think about anything else. Try not to pick up this power up too late, and we cut it close on the speed kill. Now we just pray that nothing goes wrong with the squid. God bless. And I'm extra careful here not to get the wrong stage for the finale. I do the planned death here as usual, but I forget the bomb. I almost died to this asteroid, but we'll take it. Mid-boss goes cleanly as planned. Now for one more section and then we're right there. We're able to kill everything cleanly before they can fire. Only one more speed kill between us and the clear. Ah, shit, it didn't die. We can finally see the ending. Looks like we are trying to rescue somebody, but we annihilated the wrong baddies. If you want to see the full run or the entire 1-hour practice unedited, the links are in the description. Oh no, here's the hardest part of the run. Inputting your initials while auto fire is on. Just 1P. Nah, it's too hard. Hey, we're at loop 2. Let's see how long we go last.